Okay, second video today. We're going to talk about the second book I didn't get into. One more quick thing I wanted to mention about the last book, Divination for Beginners. It also talks about what I call yes-no stones. I originally read about these in a Silver Ravenwolf book, but basically they're a set of stones. I have 3. I think you can use different numbers, but 3 is my number. And the whole point of these is if you have just basic yes-no questions, you kind of just shake them, throw the stones, and then whatever your majority lands on, that's your answer. Blank side means no. You can draw a Y on the other side or whatever you want, circle, I don't know. Just, they're up to you. He actually doesn't call them yes-no stones. He calls them, I forgot to mark the page, of course. He calls it like a basic beginning exercise before you move into things like maybe tarot or crystal gazing, water gazing, fire gazing. But just wanted to mention those real quick and how to make your own set. And if you can't afford like other tools but you kind of want to work with divination, these are great because all you gotta do is just go outside, find 3 black stones, take a marker and draw. So there you go. Now the second book I was going to talk about, The Tarot Bible by Sarah Bartlett. This is a book that was given to me as a gift. Now, okay, I personally don't like books with pictures. The reason being because I have acquired some books that use pictures in place of words. And while it's nice to gaze at imagery like this, it doesn't teach me anything. For all I know, she could be thinking about eating Subway later. I don't know. They're random and stupid to me. But this book is the exception. The pictures in here are just used to augment the text, so to kind of break it up, and also to show different things. Like there's someone doing a tarot spread. But this is just one of the most in-depth books about tarot reading, spreads, and the cards that I have ever seen. I adore this book now. And unlike the Scott Cunningham book, which this one doesn't give you very much history, but the history of tarot, she discussed the Egyptian involvement with it. So that's one thing I really like about this book. She also goes over some other divination, like first, why tarot? Why would you choose it? But then after that, there's a little bit about I Ching. She goes into symbolism, which symbolism plays a really, really, really big role in tarot reading. If you know your cards, the crown on the Emperor can symbolize something. The roses for the Empress. Just different stuff like that. And that's going to depend on what cards you're using, because imagery is different for every deck. But she goes over that. Then she shows off some different decks. So there is the classic Rider-Waite deck, which just about anybody can get a hold of, because if you have a Spencer's sells that, especially around Halloween. I acquired my first deck at 15. I bought it myself. I don't believe in the superstition that if you buy a deck it's bad luck. Bought it myself and started reading. And she gives you just basic pictures for that whole deck there. There are some examples of other decks in here, but that's the one she mainly uses. Here she talks about, and forgive me, my Italian is horrible, the Visconti Cerveza deck, and there's one of its cards. Then she goes into the Tarot of Marseille, the Crawley or Thoth Tarot, and there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of decks. Those are just a few and probably some of the more well-known. But after that, which that's only about 30 pages of the book, she gets into how do we use the book. and then we go into getting started. And this is the base of this book. First thing, she talks about pitfalls, potentials, basically setting you up for a successful tarot reading, choosing a deck, caring for your deck, getting to know your cards, and daily exercises, which I recommend anytime you get a new deck. Start with the daily exercises. You may think you know tarot, but every deck is different. Every deck has different energies. Get to know your deck. Then she is setting the scene, like how you might want to set up a ritual. You know, using a pendulum to decide left or right, or if you are, if you can sense energy, using your left hand to feel which deck is something I do. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's just a method I use, and it works for me like 99% of the time. You know, if you're comfortable, I mean, hell, you could even do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's just your personal choice. She goes over shuffling techniques, drawing and choosing your cards with a nice picture of the candle layout, letting go of the projections, how not to let a card reading like impact your conscious mind, because some people will do that. If they see like the Tower in a reading, their mind will be like, I have to avert disaster, I have to divert disaster, something's going to happen, you know. So she goes over that, how to ask your questions, which is very important. People don't realize sometimes if you ask a question in the wrong way, the answer is going to be completely different, especially if you're self-reading. Intuition, association. Again, your intuition is always your best guide. Your first reading, so if you're a newbie, she goes over first reading, how to develop your interpretation skills. She gives a lot of sample readings in here. That's an example of one. Yes, no answers, and the 3-card yes, no trick. And then drawing a daily card, which I currently do, not with a tarot deck, but an oracle deck. And then she goes over reversed cards and reading for yourself, reading for others. Then after that, we get into the meanings of the cards. And this is where the really good stuff comes in. She gives you keywords, key phrases, and then interpretations for different readings. And then that is a good portion of the book before we get into the layouts. And they are broken down into different categories. Everyday layouts, relationship spreads, destiny spreads, and developing skills and knowledge. For anybody who wants to read tarot, this I think is like a must-own, must-read. Find this book. It is that good. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video. I'm getting your 9 minutes again. I tend to ramble. So thank you for watching once again. You guys have a great day.